If you've been scrolling through endless specs, watching video after video trying to decide whether a business-class tower is worth the extra cash, you're not alone. Most of us end up stuck between, I need something that won't crash during a spreadsheet marathon, and I don't want to throw money at a machine that will sit idle because I overestimated my needs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'm going to walk through what the Dell 2026 Pro Tower actually brings to a corporate desk and why it might finally give you the confidence to stop second-guessing. Let's start with the problem most buyers face. A desktop that promises enterprise-grade performance but ends up feeling like a glorified office toy. In a typical SMB setting, you're juggling video calls, large PDFs, maybe a couple of design files, and you also have to worry about security patches and remote management. The risk of picking a consumer-grade PC is that you'll either need to replace it sooner than you'd like, or you'll spend more time on IT headaches than on actual work. The Dell 2026 Pro tries to solve that by stacking a 12th Gen Intel i7-14700T, 20 cores, and a base clock that can sprint up to 5.2 GHz, paired with 16 GB of DDR5 RAM and a 512 GB SSD. That combo isn't just headline noise, it translates into smoother multitasking when you have a dozen browser tabs, a PowerPoint deck, and a data analysis tool open at the same time. What makes this tower feel more like a business partner than a piece of hardware is the way Dell has baked security and management into the chassis. Windows 11 Pro brings BitLocker encryption and integrated Azure AD Join, while Dell's own Control Vault adds firmware-level protection that IT admins can lock down remotely. For a company that has to comply with GDPR or other data privacy regulations, that's a concrete win. You'll notice the difference when you're setting up a new employee's workstation. The IT department can push policies, install updates, and even run diagnostics without stepping foot in the office. That's the sort of continuity you can't get from a generic gaming rig that relies on third-party software for anything beyond basic updates. So who should actually consider buying the Dell 2026 Pro? If you run a small to medium business that needs a reliable workstation for finance, accounting, or light to moderate creative work, this machine hits a sweet spot. It's also a solid fit for remote-first teams that need a machine that can handle dual monitors, video conferencing, and occasional Photoshop or Premiere Pro sessions without stuttering. IT managers who want a device that integrates cleanly with existing Microsoft ecosystems will appreciate the native support for Windows 11 Pro's enterprise features. In short, if your daily workload leans on productivity software, data analysis, and occasional media editing, the Pro Tower gives you headroom without forcing you into a custom-built nightmare. On the flip side, there are clear scenarios where the Dell 2026 Pro would feel like overkill or, conversely, underdelivered. Hardcore gamers looking for a high-end GPU will be disappointed because the base model ships with integrated graphics that can drive two 4K displays but won't run the latest titles at high settings. Similarly, a startup focused on AI model training or heavy 3D rendering will likely need a dedicated workstation with a professional-grade GPU, which this tower doesn't prioritize out of the box. If you're a home user whose primary tasks are web browsing and streaming, the price point might feel steep compared to a mid-range consumer desktop that would handle those tasks just fine. Let's break down the practical strengths that become evident after you've unboxed and powered it on. First, the DDR5 memory is a future-proofing move. While many business PCs are still stuck on DDR4, DDR5 gives you higher bandwidth and lower power consumption, which translates into slightly faster file transfers and a cooler system under load. That matters when you're moving large Excel files or loading high-resolution images. Second, the 512 GB SSD, while not massive, is fast enough that you'll hardly notice any lag when launching applications. The operating system boots in under 10 seconds, and you can expect near-instantaneous response when switching between heavy Office documents. Third, the tower's multi-display capability is genuinely useful. You can connect two 4K monitors or a mix of 1080p and 1440p screens and enjoy crisp, lag-free output, perfect for a financial analyst who wants a spreadsheet on one screen and a dashboard on another. No product is without its practical downsides, and the Dell 2026 Pro is no exception. The most common trade-off is the graphics solution. The integrated Intel SE graphics are adequate for office work and light creative tasks, but they'll struggle with GPU-intensive rendering or modern games. If your workflow starts to lean heavily on GPU acceleration, you'll need to budget for a separate graphics card, which means opening the case and potentially dealing with cooling constraints that weren't designed for high-end GPUs. Another consideration is price. The base configuration sits a few $100s higher than a comparable consumer desktop, and while you're paying for security and manageability, that premium